Okay, so good evening, everyone. Today we'll start with the MBA fourth sem course of Strategic Management and Business Analytics. It is part of MBA fourth semester, and the course code is MBA 402. And my name is Dr. Abhishek Tripathi. The course objectives and outcomes. So, objective: the course is designed to cover fundamental issues with regard to corporate and business strategy, and the implementation and process aspects of strategic management. Course outcome: the successful completion of this course shall enable the student to understand the relationship between strategic analysis and strategic implementation, apply strategy principles to understand the benefits and cost of diversification, analyze competitive advantage in an international context, understand the concept of analytics, and study the major data mining techniques. So these are the 5 units which we'll be going through. Unit one talks about the from strategic analysis to strategic management. We'll understand about the strategy in detail in this unit. Then we'll understand about diversification strategies in unit two. Unit three will comprise of global strategy. Unit four introduces us to analytics, and unit five will be introducing us to data mining. So let us start with unit one, that is from strategic analysis to strategic management. It has 8 points to be discussed: the strategic design of organizational structures, processes, and management systems, the role of culture, strategic performance management, feedback loops, firms versus market, the nature of the firms, when are the firms superior to the market, vertical and horizontal integration, the scope of the firm, and case study on related topic. Right. So I will be doing a case study by the end of this unit. The strategic design of organizational structures. So, organizational design is as much as art as it is science. Why it is science? Because if you look into organizational design, it is more or less the principles of designing organizational structure, the organizational hierarchy that remains same, and they are governed by the universal principles. But at the same time, you also need to be an artist to design the organizational structure, because none of the two organizational structures are same. They are different. They cannot be same because the organizational design, the organizational structure should um, uh, um, meet the strategic objectives or strategic goals set by an organization. The process of creating a system in which people can work together to achieve common goals is highly complex, and there's no one way to do it right. As we just discussed, that the process of creating a system, an organizational design, an organizational structure should be such that the people can work together, they can achieve the common organizational goals, and the biggest problem is the achievement of organizational goals or is not that easy. It is highly complex, and there is no one accepted way of doing it right. So it is more of art, because your organizational design should meet the needs and expectations of your organization. Organizational design is the administration and execution of an organization's strategic plan. Let us try to understand what is strategic. Strategic means the long term plans, the plans which are in focus, which are made keeping in mind the mission and vision of an organization. So, organizational design is the administration and execution of an organization strategy plan. So, how organizational design is made, that is using that is the reference for making organizational design is organization strategic plan. Now, this means that organization strategy determines the optimal organizational design. Of course, the organizational design for each and every organization will be different, and that will be decided by the organizational strategy. Organizational design is determined by strategic direction of the company, aka the vision, mission, and goals of the company. So, organizational design is decided by the strategic direction, long-term direction, the long-term goals of the company. That is, it is affected. Organizational design, it is affected by the vision, mission, and goals of the company. This leads to strategies that this leads to the strategies that the company competes on, which are enabled through organizational design. So ultimately, what is the ultimate goal? What is the organizational goal? And organizational goals can be achieved only through organizational the through strategic objectives, the strategic moves, and strategic moves, or the strategy is governed, or it can be achieved only by having a proper organizational design or organizational structure. And that is how these all three concepts, the organizational goal, the organizational strategies, and organizational design, all the three are related to each other. So, if we talk about the organizational design of the strategic design of an organizational structure, so if you look into this, the external environment and internal environment. So, external environment comprises of opportunities, threats, uncertainties, and resources availability. These are something which is governed by the environment, the outside environment, the environment outside the organization. And there are internal situations like strengths, weaknesses, distinctive competence, leadership style, past performance. These are internal situations in an organization. These lead to the CEO, top management team. They decide the strategic direction of the firm. So they define the mission, official goals, and select operational goals and competitive strategies. On the basis of this strategic direction, organizational design is made, which is a structural form, that is learning versus efficiency. So how much you're giving preference to your learning, as well as how much of efficiency you want. Then information and control systems, production technology, human resource policies and incentives, organizational culture, and inter-organizational linkages. And finally, organizational design is gives birth to the effectiveness of outcomes. So whatever we have used here, these are the inputs, and here we have got the output, which is effectiveness of outcomes, that is resources, efficiency, goal attainment, and competing values. And then we again adjust our course of action, and again move back through using a feedback system to these two situations, the internal situation and external environment. And again we design the strategic direction, organizational design, and ultimately again leading to effectiveness outcome. And it is an endless process in any organization. The strategic design of organizational structures. So, for example, company A operates in an established market and is looking to maintain its position. This company will have low cost leadership strategy focused on efficiency. In terms of organizational design, this company will have a strong centralized authority, tight control, and many standard operating procedures. Right. So, it is already an established market, and the company is looking to maintain its position. It means it is very new to the market, or he was just trying to maintain his position. Whatever his position is, then he can go for low cost leadership, because they're already having enough of market. They just want to maintain their position, and that is why they will have strong centralized authority, tight control, and many standard operating procedures. Whereas company B, if it is an innovative and fast growing organization that emphasizes learning, this company will have a more fluid and flexible design, a much more decentralized structure, loose control. Employees are working directly with the customers and are rewarded for creativity and taking. So if you look into this, it is just the whether your company is looking for efficiency, or you are looking for innovative approach, or learning approach to the market, right? And if you are looking for efficiency, you will be much more focused on your cost. You will be following cost leadership strategy. You'll be focused on efficiency. And in terms of organizational design, your company will have strong centralized authority, tight control, and many standard operating procedures. Company B, on the other hand, which is an innovative and fast growing organization, will emphasize learning. It will have more fluid and flexible design, means the design of the organizational design will be more flexible, and there will be much more decentralization. There will be loose control, and employees will be working directly with the customers, and they will be awarded for their creativity and risk taking. So these are the two contrasts, the two sides of the same coin. Now, the two ideal type of organization design approach. So we have mechanical system design, where the vertical structure, the routine task, rigid culture, and formal systems and complementary compliantly competitive strategy is followed, and this is applicable only in a stable environment where you want efficient performance. So if your environment is stable, there's not much change in your environment, you can follow mechanical system design, which will be characterized by vertical structure. So there will be many ladders, many levels in the ladder, and routine tasks will be there because the environment is not changing, so the employees will have to do the same thing for a longer time. And rigid culture, there will be rigid culture, there will be more of bureaucracy, there will be more of paperwork here. Formal systems will be there, and complementary compliantary competitive strategy. So you will try to comply with the rules, regulations, laws, and try to keep the paperwork. But at the same time, you can have natural system design, which can be extremely helpful in turbulent environment and extremely good learning organization. So natural system design is characterized by horizontal structure, so there will not be many ladders. Rather than that, there will be segregation of duties, empowered roles, so the leaders will be more empowered, they will be having more power over here. Adaptive culture, so the culture will be very flexible to adapt. Shared information, so information sharing will be very transparent. Collaboratively competitive strategy, so there will be collaboration, and the competitive strategy will be based on the collaboration between the individuals, right? So these are the two ideal types of organizational design. One is mechanical system design, and another one is natural system design. Now, the five organizational design principles. So these are the organizational design principles. So when you're designing any when you're designing organizational structure, you have to keep these five things in your mind. First is a specialization principle, that specialists should be different. The segregation of function should be basis on the basis of the specialization of the individual. Then coordination principle, there should be proper coordination between various departments. Knowledge and competence principle, so the people, when they are arranged in a ladder, they should be arranged as per their knowledge and competence. Control and commitment principle, so there should be control means when you're comparing actual with the standard, and then if you're not meeting standards, then again you are making adjustments and moving towards achieving the standards. So that is control and commitment principle, there should be commitment at each level of the organizational design. And innovation and adaptation principle, so there has to be an innovation, there has to be new thought, new process, new people coming in, and there has to be adaptation, means whatever is going in the market, whatever is going in the environment of any organization, it should be ready to adapt to those adapt to the changes. Now, organizational design principles, they are governed by the environment, first of all, governed by the technology, governed by the culture of the organization, the size and the life cycle of the organization, and strategy followed by the organization. So these are the five factors which have the organizational design principles, and these are the five organizational design principles. Now let's come to Porter's four generic strategies. So Porter's four generic strategy. I'm sorry, there's a mistake over here. So Porter's four generic strategies. So if you look into this, in x-axis we have the cost, and in the y-axis we have competitive scope. So the target, right? So if you have narrow target and lower cost, you try to maintain, and you have a lower target segment, then you should be going for cost focus approach. But in case if you are having narrow target but you have higher differentiation, then your should be focus should be differentiation. So if higher cost and lower target, then your this should be focus differentiation. This is competitive advantage, and this is scope, competitive scope. And here we have, if there's broad target but the cost structure, the advantage is low, then you have cost leadership. But you have broad target but your Competitive advantage is differentiation based, then you can go for differentiation. So these are the four generic strategies of Porter. Look at this one. It explains the Porter's four generic strategies in detail. So, cost leadership, it targets a broad market but offer product or service at a very low price, reduces the selling price to maximize cost leadership. Example is Southwest Airlines and Walmart. Then differentiation strategy focuses on offering products or services as unique as possible compared to the competitors. Needs to have a robust R&D for implementation. And examples are Apple, Harley Davidson, Lego, and Starbucks. Then cost focus, the targets a niche market and offers products or services at lowest price. Has to be very clear about cost sensitive requirement of market, because cost can increase anytime because they are serving niche market. An example is Claire's and Home Depot. And differentiation focus on niche market but offers a product or service that is unique. So focus remains on the features rather than cost. An example is Rolls Royce, the car company, and the Omega. So now steps to choose right generic strategy. So you have to conduct SWOT first, use five forces analysis, and then compare results of the SWOT analysis and five forces. This is five generic strategies. That's what we are following. One is the midway, right? So if you look into this, in x-axis we have competitive advantage, in y-axis we have competitive scope. So just go through this generic strategies. Then we have organizational stages of development. So there are various levels at which organization develops itself, and that's what we are going to study. So there are four stages: entrepreneurial stage, collective leadership stage, then formalization stage, and elaboration stage. So here you're just there's one person and he's handling everything. There's an entrepreneur, he's risk taker, he's everything. Then there's collective leadership. Then he gets some leaders for working for him, and there will be collective leadership. Then there will be formalization, this stage where more of internal structures will be systematized. They will be made more formal, and then we have elaboration stage. So if we look into the characteristics of entrepreneurial stage, there is more creativity over here and crisis, and there is a very acute need for the leadership. So this is the positive point, and this is the resistance we have. So crisis is a need for leadership, and creativity is a positive point. In collective leadership, we have provision of clear direction. So that is very important. And crisis, we have need for delegation with control here. Formalization stage, we have addition of internal systems. So in formalization structure, the formalization stage, the internal addition will be there on internal systems, and crisis will be need to deal. So here again the need for delegation with control will be there. And in elaboration stage, again the development of framework will be there, and there will be crisis related to need to deal with too much red tape. That is, there will be a lot of paperwork, because in formalization structure you have built up your internal system that will lead to a lot of paperwork. And crisis will also be to need for revitalization after the elaboration stage, and that will lead to streamlining small company thinking and continued maturity, and then there will be decline. So these are the various stages in which the organizational design develops, in which the organizational design is developed from a small organization to the large organization. So as the organization moves from being a smaller one to the larger one, there will be change in the various stages of the organizational design, and there will be development of the various characteristics in the organizational design. Now, organizational culture. So, let me just talk about this. Every organization has its unique culture based on their lives, assumptions, beliefs, attitude, feelings, stories, heroes, symbols, language, and habits. These cultures are best summarized in the competing values framework. This framework proposes that there are a number of competing values in an organization: flexibility versus stability, and an internal versus external focus is there. The values compete, meaning that it is not possible to be both stable and flexible, or both internal and external focused. So, if you are more flexible or you are more stable, or you have got internal versus external focus. So if you have internal focus and you are flexible, you belong to the clan group, which has employee participation in decision making process, teamwork and empowerment as its characteristic. But at the same time, if you are stable and you are internal focused, then rules and regulations will be there, control, improve efficiency, and internal efficiency will be there. Then if you're stable and you look at the external of the organization, then market structure will be there, market type of organizational culture will be there, which will lead to goal achievement, competition, producer and competitor roles. And if you belong to flexibility, if your organization is having flexibility plus you also focus more on the external aspects, then there will be adhocracy, that is a change and adaptation oriented, because there's flexibility and also external focus, and creativity thinking will be there, entrepreneurial behavior will be there. So these are the four different types of organizational structure: clan, focus, market, and adhocracy. Now, different cultures lead to different organizational structures. An internally focused organization will have more collaboration, while an externally focused organization will have more customer facing project groups and business units. So, an internally focused organization will have more collaboration because they are looking internally, but when they are looking externally outside the organization, then they will be more customer facing projects and they will be more customer oriented. Similarly, a high stable organization has clearly defined business units, while a flexible organization has much more market focused horizontal outlay units that are different specialists to create customer value. Now, mission and vision, they give birth to strategy and culture. Strategy comprises of goals. Goals give birth to objectives, and objectives give rise to activities. Culture is governed by values. Values give birth to practices, and practices are give birth to the behavior. So this is a whole hierarchy, and this is the guiding path, and this is the driving path. So this is the guiding path. So what is the guiding path? From strategy, you obtain goals. From obtains goals, you make objectives. Your activities then are guided by your objectives. In case of driving path, your driving path will be culture, and culture will be governing the values of an organization. The values will govern the practices of an organization, and practices will give birth to the behavior in an organization, and that's how you can achieve the result. So this is how organizational culture looks like. Now, the rule of organizational culture. So, it is enabling strategy. So, features of corporate culture will be values, principles, and the ethical standards in actual use, management practices and organizational policies, atmosphere and spirit embodied in the firm's work culture climate, how managers and employees interact and relate to one another, strength of peer pressure and confirm and observe norms. So these are all features of a corporate culture. Actions and behavior encouraged and rewarded, traditions and stories, and how do we things around here, how the firm treats its stakeholders. So it is actually the combination of various values, ethics, principles, various process, the overall environment of the organization, that is an enabling strategy, and that is the feature of corporate culture. Now, strategic performance management, it is defined as the performance measurement, monitoring, and improvement methodology that help achieve organizational goal. So, it comprises of performance measurement, monitoring, and improvement methodology that will help to achieve the overall organizational goal. And key component of strategic performance management are goal setting and identification tool. Outcome oriented system should be there. Workforce segmentation, so workforce should be divided according to the functions, according to their specializations. Then employee level performance management should be there. The KPI based performance management, key performance indicators. Seamless integration should be there, so there should not be even a single bit of doubt about the coordination. Effective communication between the various parts of the organization, it strengthens the strategic performance of any organization. So employee performance, it leads to financial success, leads to customer satisfaction, it leads to internal process efficiency and organizational capacity optimization. So these are the four outcomes of employee performance. Feedback loop is a process in which outputs of a system are circled back and used as inputs. In business, this refers to the process of using customer or employee feedback, the outputs of the service or product, to create a better product or workplace. So what you actually do is you take the problem, and then you from this problem you apply that knowledge, reused it, or did not add value, and then that application is integrated. Then the review or selection is done. Again, the finding of knowledge is done, and seeking or asking the question. So if you look here, what we actually are doing, we when we seek or ask, we come across the problems. Those problems are give rise to the solutions, and they are applied. Then that is applied and it is integrated, right? So it is coordination is done. Then review is again done, and again the finding of the problem or finding of the knowledge is done, right? So this actually, whatever system that closes the output with the input, that is a feedback loop system. Market versus firm. So, firm is a business organization which employs people, purchases inputs to produce market goods and services, sets prices greater than the cost of production. And the firm in a capitalist economy is a miniature, privately owned, centrally planned economy. Right. So this is what is there. And a firm is a business organization, and firms versus market in capitalist economy. The division of labor is coordinated in two ways: the firms and the market. Coordination within the firm differs from coordination via market. Concentration of economic power in the hands of owners and managers allow them to issue commands to workers, and power is decentralized in markets, so decisions are autonomous and voluntary. So market is not governed by any top management. It is decentralized, it is democratic in nature. But when we talk about the firms have concentration of economic power in the hands of owners and managers. So if there are many firms and identical products are there, then there is perfect competition. So these are the various types of firms, various types of markets. So if there are many firms and identical selling identical product, that is perfect competition. Many firms similar but not identical products, that is monopolistic competition. Few firms and identical or similar products, then it is oligopoly. And one firm and no similar product, that is monopoly, right? So these are the four major types of the market. When are firms superior to market? So when firms can be superior to market, so it is only possible when the firms are having competitive advantage. What is competitive advantage? That they have some advantage which others don't have, or and other players in the market don't have. And what can be those a competitive advantage? That can be high skilled workforce, that can be gaining exclusive access to new technology. Maybe they are able to produce in a low cost strategy, so their cost leadership is there. They may be able to offer unique products and services. They may recognize the recognition, maybe there may be recognition within the customers of the brand image, or gaining exclusive access to proprietary technology. So there may be some technology which is developed by the company which they have proprietary access to, and that they are not going to offer in the market. Now, if we look into vertical and horizontal integration, we are just talking about the integration. When we talk about integration, it is coordination, and vertical and horizontal is when we talk about vertical, it is moving across the ladder, and horizontal is when you are comparing the same levels in the organizational structure. So if you talk about the horizontal integration merger, when here I'm talking about the here now I'm not talking about a single organization. Rather than that, I'm just talking about mergers and acquisitions. So when I talk about vertical integration, I'm talking about forward integration. It means if the supplier is acquiring final product, the company that create products with its own brand, then that will be vertical integration or forward integration. And when the supplier acquires the raw material company, the company that handles and create commodities, that will be backward integration. So let's take an example of retailer. So raw material that companies that handle and create commodities provides it to suppliers. So companies that create basic components, and final product, companies that create products with its own brand, and finally it is giving to retailers, companies that sell the product to the final customer. So that is the stage, the hierarchy. And if supplier takes acquires final product maker, then it is forward integration. But if supplier takes over the raw material maker, then that is backward integration. And when we talk about horizontal integration, it is within the domestic market. Your company is having new product, competitor one is having similar or better product, market player is a dominant product, and competitor two is a hot selling product. So if this company acquires competitor one, market player, and competitor two, or competitor two, that will be horizontal integration. So this is about the horizontal and vertical integration. Horizontal integration: a firm expands within the same industry or to other geographic location. Pros are increased market share, economies of scale, and economies of scope. And cons are reduction in flexibility. Why reduction in flexibility? Because they are moving in the same industry. Synergies might not materialize. There may be clashes between the two different types of organization. Possible legal repercussions. There may be legal repercussions related to this. So this is vertical integration. So pros are no reliance on suppliers, potential access to monopolizing suppliers, economies of scale is there, knocking off most popular brand name products, and lower costs. Cons are it is expensive, reduces flexibility, loss of focus, and not likely to have a culture that supports both the retail stores and factories. This is the difference between horizontal and vertical integration. So horizontal integration is about integrating similar products, and vertical integration, this includes taking over another's non-similar business. And this works in increasing the revenue, and it increases efficiency and addresses distribution issue. Horizontal integration boosts profit margin by giving more pricing power, but vertical integration boosts the profit margin by reducing access costs. Horizontal integration involves lower capital requirement. This requires higher capital requirement. This does not make company self-sufficient. This helps the company to make self-sufficient. Horizontal integration has no categorization can be done, and in this backward integration and forward integration can be done. In horizontal integration, success of every company in the value chain helps other companies. In vertical integration, success of the end product determines the profitability of companies. In horizontal integration, here company uses component from outside vendors, and here the company needs to create almost everything on its own. Standardized interface is characteristic of horizontal integrated product, and there is large requirement of custom components and interfaces. Under horizontal integration, scaling is quick. Scaling potential is limited under vertical integration. The focus is more on operations, procurement, and supply in case of horizontal integration. And in case of vertical integration, the focus is more on R&D and ensure the best components. In vertical integration, there is less customer satisfaction due to less customization. In vertical integration, more customization is there, and therefore it will lead to more customer satisfaction. The risk is less in case of horizontal integration. In vertical integration, it is more prone to disruptions and faces a higher risk. There's multiple competitors selling similar products in horizontal integration, but there's less competitors as ecosystem is small in vertical integration. So this is the difference between vertical and horizontal integration. Now, if we define the scope of the firm's operation, then we have to work on the four different things while defining the scope of the firm's operation. So first thing which we have to work on is range of the activities that will be performed internally. So what are the various activities which are performed internally in an organization? Then width of the product and services offering. What will be the product and services, and what are the various types of products and services which will be offered in an organization? Then extent of its geographic market and presence, and its mix of business. So what are the various mixes of business? What business constitutes what percentage? And also extent of the geographic market presence. Size of its competitive footprint on its market or industry. So what is the uh, uh, position of the company in the market or industry? So these four things will be defining the scope of the firm's operation. Now, the case study which we'll be studying in next video, that will be Amazon versus Netflix organizational case design case study. And these are some assignment questions. See what is organizational design, what is feedback loop, what is vertical integration, horizontal integration, and organizational culture. Short answer type questions. So explain two ideal types of organizations, which we have already done. Differentiate between horizontal and vertical integration. Again, we have done. Explain the concept of feedback loop in detail. Explain 5 organizational design principles in detail. And explain report is four generic strategies in detail. So these all we have done. And the long answer type question will be write a detailed note on organizational structure of Amazon that is based on the case. Write a detailed note on organizational structure of Netflix. Discuss the role of organizational culture in organizational design, and explain in various detail various types of organizational structure. So these will be long answer type questions, and that is end. Thank you, and see you in the next video. Thank you.